today, but I will do my best. Alright, my clock says noon, so let's do this. Alright, we're doing practice today. So what we're doing today, I want to work on specifically level 5. I feel like level 5 and 6 are our biggest weak points that we don't get to practice a whole lot. So here we go. See, already, I have forgotten the first thing about level 5. The thing that I get about level 5 is that it's like so far deep into the game that it's hard to remember this bits right here. Like, okay, so these fucking things come out. They're not hard to deal with. As long as I stay in the middle. Okay, these are bait. Yep, stay in the middle. There. See, was that so? Okay, well that was... maybe a poor decision on my part. I gotta remember that there's a third wave of these fuckers. They really aren't that bad to dodge. Alright. I am making a poor argument for myself here, aren't I? That's fine. This is why we do this. This is the other attack I really want to work on. Beat up a main just as God intended? Indeed. Hello, EV. Hello, Henri. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, today's going to be a lot of me doing the same exact level over and over and over again. And muttering to myself. So, please get ready for that. That said, at least Saki's theme is a banger, right? Close. Okay. Okay, that was a very bad pattern for me. Ugh. Okay, this is where I really want to work on, because this involves a lot of very delicate bobbing and weaving here. But it's totally... it's definitely doable. It's just, I am not good at it. Need to practice. Stay in the center. Stay in the center. Center. Okay. I just need to worry about getting past that one green part there. Alright. Sakuya comes up. Knives. Okay. Not ideal. This one is easy. We know the strat. Stay in one place. Gently move to the side. Stay in one place. Gently move to the side. Stay in one place. Gently move to the side. Okay. That part, easy. Down to a science. It's her first barrage of attacks that I am not strong at all with. Right, okay, so there's another one of these after. I know I have the right idea by trying to be towards the center of those attacks. I just need to be better about recognizing when they're coming and get better at getting off to the side. Yo, Lunar Clock, Lunar Dial. Well, would have been Lunar Clock, Lunar Dial time. I admit I'm also a little bit tired right now. I only woke up about 20 minutes ago because someone forgot to set an alarm last night. Not naming names, but past Eskay certainly wasn't doing me any favors here. Okay. As close to the center as possible. Still be as close to the center as possible. I feel like I'm very close to figuring that out. Being as close to the center is definitely the answer there. It's just a matter of figuring out where I need to move. Okay, this attack. It's a little bit less worrisome when I'm actually getting damage on her, but if I get stuck in a position on that attack where I'm just dodging and not dealing damage back, it certainly sucks. Okay. I also have to accept that I'm never getting up to the top of the screen during this level. It's just not gonna happen. Alright. Am I just too tired for Toho right now? I feel like I'm making basic mistakes right now. I might legitimately just be too tired to be able to do this at the moment. Let's see. Okay. Okay, that wasn't bad. A little early there, but I had the right idea. Alright, Sakuya, fight me. feel like there's got to be a more consistent way through this pattern, but if there is, I'm not seeing it. Cool. So that part remains easy. Sure. Okay, we know how to deal with these. See what side she goes off to. And gently move off to that side. Yep. So the pattern is less... It's less obnoxious than it looks. It's mostly just the rice that's annoying here. Yep. Oh, come on. Still feel like I had to bomb span a little bit too much for this, but no, we got the right idea. Alright. So there's Saki on one continue. Let's see if we can get a little bit more consistent at dodging these earlier patterns. You ever think about how lucky it is that Toho music is this fucking badass? Because otherwise there's no way I would sit through practicing these levels over and over again. Just realizing how important the music is to the experience of Toho right now. Not just from like, oh, the music is great, but like, I could not do this if the music was not like amazing and driving and keeping me moving forward. You know what I mean? Oh well, fuck. This is good practice for this one. I never want to get caught against the back of the screen on this attack, but I always feel like I am. Okay, well, I thought I was out of the way, and I was not. Instead, I was in front of a knife. An actual literal knife. I did not see that one. That was just, I did not see it. There's got to be something there that I'm missing with that attack. Also, maybe if I didn't put myself in front of bullets, I could dodge these. Let's see. Keeping her backed up against the wall if I can here. Or like, being aggressive. Not aggressive, but like, if I get up closer to her, it pushes her further back, and that gives me more room to get around some of those knife patterns and find spaces to weave through. This is my zone right back here. I ain't leaving my zone. Don't leave my zone. Yeah, you definitely want to be as far back towards the bottom center of the screen for this attack as possibly can be. Okay. I might just have to accept the loss of a bomb until I figure out how to do that consistently. Because it's that, like the triple layer version of that attack, which, like, I know in theory how to deal with, but obviously is giving me trouble in practice here. That wasn't so bad as long as I kept, like, pressing up against her, you know what I mean? To, like, keep her moving backwards, that way there was always space for me to move into. Well, okay, now I'm just making bad mistakes because I'm tired. That's fine. It's not about the random tired mistakes. Those just whatever. Except that they're a part of this. I just need to work on... Right. Not only are there 3 at the end of that one, there's another layer out there at the end of it, so I have to be in the center, slightly dodge, then be back to the center if I want to get through that without wasting bombs. Okay. As soon as I have, like, a good mental feel for when the fucking... I don't know what to call them, but, like, these fucking attacks... The ones where if I don't bait them specifically towards the center, they won't line up into nice little pockets for me to dodge into. Right, because you bait them out, and then they cross over in the middle, and then there's space, to, like, immediately there for you to dodge into. That's what you want. Because there's always going to be a part of these aimed directly at you. And as long as you're into the center, then they'll start kind of lining up in nice little lanes. And that's not, and that we can work with. Just gonna keep, like... Okay, that wasn't too bad. Part is just exhausting, but it's all slow moving enough that I can, like, deal with it. I just need to deal with it, you know? What did I do there? Why did that work out so nicely? What changed about that last pattern? Because the first wave of 3 kind of force you off to the side, and you can't get to the center by the time the second wave of 3 come in. So why did that work out so nicely? Was that just coincidence? Huh. Well... Zakia, you're just really lucky. Your team is so good. Alright, well. Yeah, I might have to just accept that I'm playing a little sloppy right now because of sleepy brain, but regardless, looking at the patterns is going to be helpful. So, regardless of my ability to actually dodge them right now, still gonna... I know how to do this in theory. The bullet hell gamer's prayer. Yeah. I mean, I'm also kind of like, there's also a part of me that's like, I'm learning how to play this game and genre kind of flying blind. All I did was started sit down and playing them one day. And I haven't like really looked up anything at all about how, like, I've looked up like the game's mechanics, scoring mechanics. I think that's the only thing I've looked up. So I don't really know like how one usually practices something like this or what one would normally do to help improve other than what feels right. And I haven't like looked up solutions for any of the bullet patterns or anything. I'm just going on what seems like it should work. Yeah, keeping her in the back of the... shit. Wasn't far enough to the side. Keeping her as far back as possible during this bit. Oh, shit. I need to not talk while I do this. That's fine. But keeping her far back gives me more room to fall back from her. To get around some of those knives patterns. Because the knife patterns aren't hard to see the way through. Most of the time. It's that sometimes that it'll line up directly in front of you and not give you enough time or space to kind of get through both patterns safely. Which is why having her backed up towards as far towards the rear of the level as possible is good. Because that means if you need to, you have space to back up. It's definitely better to be aggressive during that and keep her backed up as much as possible. But you know, beggars, choosers, all that. And then sometimes you get a pattern like that where it's just like, okay, I guess you're not going to aim at me. That's fine. Yeah, whenever she has her little dash move there. Well, that... okay. I kind of put myself in that situation, didn't I? What hit me there? Ah. I'm playing sloppy. Good. Get the sloppy out in practice. Don't do the sloppy in actual runs. That's what the practice is for. Okay. Gotta keep reminding myself of that. It's okay to fuck up. It's okay to learn. You'll get better. You'll get better at this, and this is how you do it. By drilling it, seeing the patterns over and over again until you get familiar with them. I think mentally I have a game plan for every bit of this fight. It's just a matter of, like, in a vacuum, I could see any bit of this and be like, okay, I know what I need to do now. But why? Okay, come on now. Ugh. Ramu! Ah! Okay, there we go. Three, and then there's gonna be another three. Okay. Yeah, being as close to the center makes that easy. Okay. Or easier. Doing some motor skirts with noise in both games of song list, but post practice, but just repetition practice mode too. Yeah. Importantly, while you're fighting Sakuya, time might stop, the timer might stop, right? But the non-diegetic music keeps going. Did that really get me from the side? I don't think I've ever gotten hit like that before. Okay. Well, alright. So it goes. Learned a thing. What? No, that was a rice. Okay. Sometimes the rice just be like that. I don't know if there's an actual term for that, for those kinds of bullets, but I refuse to look it up now. Okay. Ah! Okay, that was just me being sloppy. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to just accept that I'm not gonna be playing well today. That's fine. This is still useful practice. I'm just clearly am a bit too tired. Hot streaming tip. Don't wake up like 20 minutes before you stream a bullet hell game. You will not be able to perform well. Okay. I really do feel like I'm just getting hit by stuff I really shouldn't be, but... Nah, so it goes. Can't let it get to you. Can't let it get to me. Yeah, that one was my fault for going in the corner. Practice, 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 practice. Practice, practice, practice. If I can get consistent at doing levels 5 and 6 without wasting too many lives. Don't be afraid to use your bombs. Levels 5 and 6 are what the bombs are for. Okay. Very strange what I find easy in this and what I just find difficult. I've got no explanation for it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Get back to center. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I had to bomb to get out of that one. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I recognized when I need to bomb to get out of something. And I did it. It's fine. Bomb spam isn't going to help me practice this. Come on, Eskay. I mean, I guess I'd rather bomb than get hit, but still, bombing all the time doesn't help me practice the patterns, so. Okay. Putting tips or examples for Toho patterns is probably easier by virtue of, like, player base. Yeah, but, I mean, I don't want to. Like, I unless I'm really, really trapped on something, I really just want to figure it out on my own, because I've gotten this far, right? I'm trying to think whether or not I can afford to take a trip up to the top of the screen in some of these breaks here, but like dodging through the radial patterns. Yeah, I'm just gonna start calling these the radial patterns. Dodging through those is predicated on me being in the very rear in the center of the screen. So as much as I would love to go up to the top of the screen to like clear points and stuff, if I can't dodge what comes after because I was up there, then, you know, what am I doing? Yeah, I'm just moving too quickly. What? Oh. Okay. Now I'm just being flustered. That's fine. This is how we get better. It's also the reason why I only do like this for about an hour, because I don't think I can like stay concentrated on this for much longer than that. And it also gives me kind of like a regular time to point to be like, hey, if you don't want to be here for the Toho part of the stream, I'll be, you know, gives me a good hour marker to point people towards. Go. Graze 69. Nice. Always want to make sure we back her up first thing here. Okay, give me my freebie. Thank you. Curtain of bullets. Okay. Getting better at that part. Oh, well, okay. So my new bullet dodging pattern of putting my face in front of the bullets does not seem to be a winning strat here. That was fast. Cool. Hi, Mivadata. Hopping in real quick as usual. How's the Toho? It's going all right. I am honestly a bit too sleepy to be doing well at this, but, you know, that's just... still got to practice. Flying into bullets at a high enough velocity should just parry them. Hot take, Henri, and I appreciate that. What? Oh, I thought I was in the clear. My bad. Okay, again, I need to... Whatever. Fight me. I'm angry and probably gay. Fight me. See, letting her dictate where she gets to move for that attack is just ends up with you being pinned to the corner here. What? Oh, I didn't move off side fast enough. Okay, that's fine. Practice, 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 practice. Practice, practice, practice. Got greedy there. Okay. At some point, I'm just going to need to accept that I'm just moving poorly right now and that this is probably not the best mind frame to be practicing in, but I got another 15 minutes. I'll keep going. Hmm. Oh, come on. Really? All right. Get me out of the corner. Could be better, but we're getting better. I'll feel better about this level when we can finish with some lives on the board still, you know? And we're not just wasting them all on bad mistakes partway through. Why did I try to do that? What was I thinking? Alright. Let's do one more run, and then I'm going to move on to something else. Only so much I can do this in one day, unfortunately. Ah! I was in the groove there. Alright, I think I'm hitting a point of diminishing returns at the moment, so let's move over and play something else. Where's my AFK? There's my AFK. Let me get some water in me. I don't know how long we'll go for Shibuya today, because I'm still really... Surprisingly, playing Tovo for an hour hasn't exactly woken me up, but we'll go for a little bit. Alright. At least I don't need to be super awake to do this, right? Load me a game, my dude. We are at a new time block. We haven't been here yet. 1 to 2. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff open to us. Let's see. Nice Kano. Why not? Let's do Kano's first. Following Kano's directions, Stanley drove toward the crime syndicate's hangout. There was a good chance that this was where Mario was being held. Traffic was practically non-existent, and they made good time. They cruised down Miyamasuzaka, and then past the train station toward Dogenzaka. All the while, the two men stared out the windshield, neither inclined to make conversation. They arrived at the Shinsensho intersection. "Take a right here," Kano said. "You nervous?" Stanley asked as he made the turn. His own tone was calm and level. Kano gave no reply. If this syndicate really was holding Maria hostage up ahead, he and Stanley might wind up putting her in danger by showing up there. If it came down to it, Kano wondered, could he kowtow the man next to him, taking the hostage's safety into account? He doubted it, but there was nothing that he could do about that now. They arrived at the syndicate's hangout sooner than Kano had anticipated. It was a multi-tenant building in Tomagaya, southwest of Yoyogi Park. The ratty building looked like it might come crashing down at any minute. The Black Lodge sign out front looked deliberately ominous. Kano knew the place as a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as a hotbed of criminal activity. "I'll take point," Stanley said. "You back me up." He pulled out a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a compact Glock, a model frequently used by the FBI or the CIA. A Glock 17, a semi-automatic pistol developed in Austria for police and military use. Notable for its incorporation of large amounts of polymer in its design, a certain Hollywood film included a line of dialogue claiming that the Glock would not show up on airport x-ray machines, but since the gun barrel itself is made of metal, this is assuredly not true. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, an American investigative bureau established by the U.S. Department of Justice in 1908, has authority in matters involving crimes that cross state lines, as well as threats to public order such as espionage and terrorism. Generally speaking, the FBI conducts its activities within the United States. Central Intelligence Agency, one of the principal agencies of the U.S. intelligence community, reporting to the Director of National Intelligence. Possessing considerable budgetary resources and a vast network of highly trained personnel, the CIA carries out intelligence gathering and covert operations primarily overseas. In recent years, the organization has been devoting major efforts to counterterrorism. Kano drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. They immediately heard some sort of ruckus from beyond a wooden door at the far end of the hall. Please don't be what I think this is, Kano thought to himself. Sweat beaded on his hands as he gripped his gun tighter. He heard the sound of glass shattering. Then came the sound of something heavy falling to the floor. "Maria!" Ignoring Stanley's previous order, Kano rushed ahead, kicked down the door, and stepped inside. He walked right into a massacre. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out across the floor. He thought he recognized them all, the men who participated in the repeated attaché case handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Had these guys all turned on each other? No, that couldn't have been the case. None of the victims was holding a knife, which meant that whoever had killed them must still be hiding nearby. No sooner had Kano come to this conclusion than he heard a muffled cry behind him. "Stanley!" The American was sprawled on the floor, face down. Kano rushed over and knelt beside him. Stanley was dead, stabbed through the back. Wow. That was pretty quick for someone who's featured on the artwork of on the Steam page of the game. Rip Stanley, we hardly knew you. Without an instant's hesitation, Kano stood up again, gun at the ready. He scanned his surroundings, but there was no sign of the killer. But that was impossible. Stanley had been killed mere moments ago. Someone had to be here somewhere. Out of nowhere, he felt someone press the tip of a knife into his neck from behind, right at the base of his skull. How? He hadn't noticed anyone coming up on him. There wasn't even anyone else around. Nobody but corpses scattered across the floor. Wait. The corpses. Kano hadn't checked them. He hadn't checked to make sure that they were all really dead. Come on, this is closed room murder 101. You got to make sure that they're actually dead. If you don't have the detective's authority, there's, other options available to you. But with his last thought, he realized that had been his fatal mistake. Always check the corpses. Exactly. Dude's always got to check the corpses. Anyway, rip to Kano, but I'm different. Wow. I thought they were dead. How do we get out of this one? Nothing to be done for poor Kano now. He wasn't prepared for whoever was wielding that knife. Sometimes it's best not to rush things. Kano and Stanley might not have had their run-in with the killer if they'd turned up a bit later. There's someone who can cause a traffic jam at 1310, which should keep these two from meeting such a grisly end. All right. So if it can cause a traffic jam at some point, we probably should. Well, rip Kano. Who do we want to do next? I kind of want to do Osawa. Of all the angles so far, I'm really interested in what's going on with the potential, like, bioterrorism angle. Should have brought a machine gun for double tapping purposes. Exactly. And if you wanted to make sure they were really dead, you just gotta, you know, take the head off at the neck. That'll ensure it. I don't deserve to be forgiven for what I've done. Connor has reset the chain lock on the door before walking all the way in. Right? God damn, dude. We may have both done the same thing, but my motives, those were different. And so I don't regret what I did. And yet, if someone were to ask me if there was some small part of me that wanted to see the results of my research, I could not deny it. Osawa grabbed his shoes from the entryway and then headed back for the door. He didn't want the detectives in his living room to know he was going to meet with Makino. Man, as the interior shots in this game especially, where they have the chance to like set up lighting, like drastic lighting and stuff, they do a very good job of setting the scene for them. Like the exterior shots, yeah, there's only so much you can do, right? But on the interior ones where they can clearly like set up cameras and lights and shit to make things look dramatic and perfect, they do a great job of that. That past Kajawara was nowhere in sight. Now was the chance to slip away. Gotcha. Speak of the devil. Kajawara had snuck up behind him. What is with this dude? Are you going out? The detective asked. No, I was just... Osawa felt something inside his shoe. Glancing down, he saw a rubber duck stuffed inside of it. Is this your doing? I laid a booby trap, or rather a ducky trap. A booby trap, originally a type of lethal trap used during wartime to catch clumsy or unwary soldiers, boobies. In modern parlance, however, the term frequently signifies a harmless prank, such as setting a blackboard eraser atop a classroom door so that it falls onto the head of whoever opens the door. Kajawara beamed with self-satisfaction. You know, you act like a grade schooler, Osawa said. Indeed, sir. I am a grown man with a youthful heart. Leave it to Kajawara to yet again miss the point entirely. With a sigh, Osawa tossed the duck at him. Kajawara caught it nimbly in one hand, then stuffed it right into his pocket. I won't tell you that you're not allowed to leave, sir. All I ask is that you tell me where you've been and where you plan on going. Also helps that most interior shots are set in Osawa's house, so the vibes just reinforce each other nicely. True! That is true. Yeah, like, the Osawa ones in particular, right? They clearly had some really good framing for Osawa, the shots in Osawa's house. My work is highly confidential. I'm not at liberty to discuss anything about... Please try to work with me on this, sir, Kajawara interrupted. He leaned in uncomfortably close. Do you recall what I said before? About how I'd appreciate it if you didn't keep secrets from me? Osawa hesitated, inwardly debating how much he should share. Let's try to keep our secrets for now. You needed to keep this a secret. It doesn't concern you. All right, the detective said. In that case, I have just one condition. Please take this with you. He produced something that looked like a small transceiver from inside his coat. What is this? It's a bug tracker, sir. It'll beep in response to a nearby listening device. I don't need this. He pushed Kajawara's hand aside and the bug tracker fell to the floor. Mr. Osawa, you mustn't underestimate the lengths to which these kidnappers might go. For once, the detective's face was all seriousness. All right, fine. Osawa snatched up the device and headed out the door. Makino's car was parked out front. A driver stood alongside it. Osawa exchanged a wordless greeting with him, then got into the back. He found Makino reclining in one of the luxurious leather seats. Now, now then, Makino said, what did you want to ask me about? Lighting a cigar, he glanced sidelong at Osawa. I was hoping you could explain the situation to me, sir. And what situation would that be? So he was still going to beat around the bush even now. Osawa suppressed an urge to shout at him. Are you the one who let the antiviral out of the lab, sir? Yes, that was me. Makino didn't bat an eyelid. So why had he been so coy a few moments earlier? But how? The fingerprint authentication system is almost unbreakable. Getting access to the storage area would... He trailed off as a thought suddenly occurred to him. It was not strictly true that fingerprint authentication was the only means of entry. Osawa and Tanaka had both set up passwords as a failsafe in case an injured fingertip somehow prevented them from operating the scanner properly. But these passwords were 10-character alphanumeric strings. No one could just haphazardly fumble their way in. Could Makino have sent a request to the electronic locks manufacturer and asked them to unlock it then? No, that required the approval of 6 board members, and Osawa was one of those 6 people. There really seemed to be no way of getting in without leaving any trace. A perfect closed room. You're absolutely right, of course, Makino said with a grin as if reading his thought. I couldn't gain access to the lab without you and Tanaka, but I didn't have to. He exhaled a large plume of smoke. You remember when we leased the samples for animal testing? No, it couldn't be. Osawa broke out in sweat. Aha, but it could, Makino said. I had them divert some samples intended for animal testing. Naturally, that didn't leave any record of anything being taken from the lab. Osawa bit his lip hard. He couldn't help but feel betrayed by his company. But why? Makino let out a nasal one-note chuckle. You don't seem to grasp just how valuable this thing really is. What do you mean by that, sir? Makino lowered his voice. There's major world power out there that has already weaponized the UA virus. For a moment, Osawa thought this was just a sick joke, but the look on Makino's face told him otherwise. I've been informed that it was recently used on a military installation in the Middle East. Within 12 hours of dispersal, there were at least 800 casualties. If you include civilians, the number jumps over 2,000. Any evidence that the disease agent and the bomb that delivered it has, of course, been covered up. Osawa listened in amazement, his outrage that any government would commit such an atrocity not quite suppressing his excitement at discovering that the virus could be propagated by explosive means. He felt a flush of guilt at his own fascination. The antiviral you created, Osawa, has the potential to render this weapon useless. Right now, Akoshi Pharmaceutical possesses the sole means to combat UA. Makino's lips curled into a boastful grin. Any number of countries would love to get their hands on it. The major power in question has offered an unprecedented sum, and that's hardly a surprise. Having a monopoly on the antiviral makes the weapon itself that much more valuable. To Osawa, this was a glimpse into another terrifying world, one where he had barely imagined previously. And so you wanted to get human testing over with as soon as possible? Is that it? He spat. Makino shrugged. Explained full well to the locals what the risks of experimentation were, and they were paid in accordance with said risks. They willingly consented to infection with the UA virus. Sophistry, Osawa huffed. Nothing more. You used money to deceive a bunch of poor farmers. Come on, Osawa. Who's being disingenuous now? Makino eyed him with contempt and let out another puff of smoke. I know you, Osawa, and I know you're not really concerned for some bunch of hick farmers. All you care about is your research. The thing that's really nagging you right now is that someone went ahead of you and did the final clinicals without you. Spare me the ridicule, sir. As a virologist, I have a moral duty to... To what? Makino barked. Go to the media with this? Do you have any idea how much money the company has thrown at your lab to keep it running? Osawa's lab has incurred expenses of roughly 30 billion yen in developing the antiviral medication. Akoshi Pharmaceutical spends approximately 200 billion yen per year on research and development. Osawa's work is the single most costly element of that budget. Osawa gaped. I do appreciate all that the company has done for me, sir. He spoke so quietly that his voice was nearly inaudible. In any event, Makino said, now that you know about the human testing, I can't let you go to America. How do you know about that? He had insisted that I keep his planned relocation a secret, but apparently she had told her father regardless. If you insist on making the move anyway, I'll use any means necessary to try to stop you. Makino regarded Osawa with a bloodshot gaze. Any means necessary? Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. Sir, you don't mean that my daughter's kidnapping was... Don't be ridiculous, Makino said before Osawa could finish. Of course that wasn't me. Nevertheless, I'll do what I must to keep you in line. Remember that. Understood, sir? I'll turn down the U.S. job offer. Osawa heard his own voice like the thin drone of a tiny insect. He felt utterly powerless. I can't simply take your word on that, Makino said. Do it now. I want to hear you do it myself. He jutted his jaw towards the phone in the back seat console. Couldn't this wait just a little bit, sir? Osawa asked. Maybe we could still find a way out. You already know what my decision is, Makino said. His tone carried an edge of intimidation. Osawa didn't reply. He simply stared at the telephone. He felt like an insect who had had all its legs pulled off. You need to think about your wife, too. Makino's words were barely above a murmur. Realizing that his boss was speaking as Ai's father, Osawa couldn't bring himself to resist further. He reached out for the phone. It would be around 10 p.m. local time for the American firm. Decided to call his contact's personal phone. The headhunter was shocked to hear that Osawa wanted to decline the position. When he pressed for the reasons behind the decision, Osawa hung up. Visibly relieved, Makino lit up a fresh cigar. Sir, there's one thing I don't understand. And what's that? Osawa's head was feeling fuzzy. The smoke inside the vehicle had gotten extremely thick. If someone has this top secret information, why wouldn't they threaten the company as a whole? Why send those emails to me personally? I'm not sure. There's an internal investigation already underway. We'll find the source of the leak soon enough. At this point, though, Osawa wasn't sure knowing who originally leaked the info mattered much at all to him. If you'll beg my pardon then, sir, Osawa said. Put his hand on the door handle. A sudden high-pitched chirp sounded from his pocket. The bug tractor that Kajiwara had given him had picked up a signal. Is that your cell? Makino asked. Ah, yeah, oh, yes, that's mine. He hurriedly hopped out of the car and reached into his pocket. Is everything all right, sir? The driver was still waiting outside the car. He leaned toward Osawa, looking concerned. Was it you? Osawa stepped close to the driver. Huh? Did you send me those emails? What? What are you talking about, sir? Don't play dumb with me, Osawa said. You're the only person who could have planted a listening device on a company car. Listening device? The driver raised an eyebrow in confusion. What are you after? Sir, what are you talking about? Who told you to do it? Tell me! The driver fled back into the car. So it clutched the bug tracker hard as he watched the vehicle pull away. Notably, we don't get a face shot of the driver there. Yo, Ai, welcome back. He went back to his house, still gripped by confusion, to find Ai waiting in the entryway. She must have gotten home while he was out. You were with my father, weren't you? She sneered at Osawa as he slipped off his shoes. Yes, I was, he replied. And it's over. What's over? She knows damn well what. He struggled to contain his irritation. America. I'm not going, he huffed. Oh, really? Well, that is good news. She sounded sincerely pleased. Maybe a little more pleased than Osawa cared for. I need to go finish up some work things, he mumbled. He hurried to his study up on the second floor. He threw himself down in front of his computer. There hadn't been any progress on the investigation, as usual. Just how long was this all going to go on for? Were all kidnapping cases this drawn out? A specialized victim support team belonging to the Special Criminal Investigation Unit has been deployed at Osawa's house. The members of this team are all specialists who have received training in such skills as negotiation, high-speed motorcycle and automobile driving, running phone traces, special communications, and phone records acquisition. Osawa was growing more and more uneasy. He could barely contain himself at this point. Wasn't there something, anything that he could do? He glanced over at his monitor. That's an idea. Could look up kidnapping investigations on the internet. That might give him some insight into the current situation. Kidnapping, police investigation, hostages. He typed the 3 keywords into the search field. The engine pulled up over 100,000 hits. He scanned the beginning of the list for anything that might be useful. One of the site links caught his eye. How the police do it. Looked like a page containing information on various types of police cases. Clicked on the link for kidnapping cases and began to read. Even if the hostage wound up safe in the end, the site informed him, the police lost face if the culprit got away. And if the hostage were killed and the kidnapper evaded capture, the media would have a field day. It made apprehending the suspect an absolute necessity. Even if a person's life was on the line, when it came to kidnapping case, the police prioritized making the arrest. Taking his hand off the mouse, Osawa sat back and thought. He wasn't going to be able to relax until he had heard Maria's voice again. But if the police prioritized arresting the suspect, why were they just letting things stay in limbo now? Didn't they have the crooks under surveillance? He couldn't wrap his head around that. The internet hadn't been able to give him the info he'd hoped for after all. Unable to do anything for Maria but wait, he turned his thoughts to how his opportunity to transfer to the U.S. had passed him by. The research facilities in America would have been top tier. Some part of him still couldn't quite accept what had happened. He stole a quick look back at the door and surfed the Ayakamiki fan community for people 40 and over. English. Whenever something was weighing on his mind, posting to these forums seemed to turn his mood back around. He knew that now wasn't really the time to be doing this, but he needed to do something to calm and quiet his mind. He started a new forum topic. In the title field he wrote, Ayakamiki expanding into the U.S. With Ayakamiki still at the height of her popularity, does anyone else think it would be exciting if she ventured into the American market? I know I would. She's not the sort of artist who deserves to be confined to Japan. She should be recording at an American studio staffed by the industry's best. I'd love to see her career really take off over there. He wound up getting into a little back and forth with himself. Hopefully he'd get a response from someone else soon. A sudden shrill noise startled him so much that he nearly cried out. His heart fluttered like that of a young child who'd been caught in some prank. Realizing that the sound was coming from the bug tracker, he pulled it off his pocket and took a few breaths to steady himself. Evidently someone had bugged his study as well. Betrayed by the internet. An inevitable outcome. True. Tracker in hand, he walked toward the center of the room. What direction was the signal coming from? Tried heading over toward the window. Here, maybe? Next, he headed over to his desk. Here, too? The bug tracker was picking up signals from all over the room. Had there been that many listening devices planted in here? Mr. Osawa, it's Kajawara. Ah, perfect timing. Osawa hurried to let the detective into the study. The bug tracker's picking up signals. Oh? Yes, from all over the room. What should I do? Mr. Osawa, please come down. As if that's even possible right now. Feels like there must be 10, no, maybe 100 listening devices in here. Kajawara didn't miss a beat. Let me be honest with you. That bug tracker is broken. What? Osawa was dumbfounded. Broken? But it's the one I got from you, right? Well, yes, but mine isn't detecting anything. Kajawara produced an identical bug tracker from his pocket, and as he said, it wasn't getting any signal. As I recall, Mr. Osawa, that one was dropped to the floor when I was trying to hand it to you. Oh, yeah, that's right. That must have been when it broke, sir. The strength ebbed from Osawa's body. Didn't even have the mental energy to be angry anymore. He gave the tracker a whack with the palm of his hand, and the beeping stopped. Right, he said. What can I do for you? Kajawara clapped his hands together as if he just remembered something. Ah, right. We have a big problem. The toilet again? Osawa sighed. No, it's not that. It's something worse. Kajawara's face turned grim. Something worse? Had something happened to Maria? He needed to hear the detective out. What is it? Osawa asked. Go on, tell me. He did his best to remain composed. Well, you see, we ordered lunches for everyone, and it looked like there were 2 still left over, so I wound up eating them. There was an awkward pause. Osawa didn't have the foggiest idea of how to respond. My deepest apologies, sir. I ate the lunches intended for you and your wife. Kajawara bowed profusely. And I really do need to apologize. They were tonkatsu bento boxes, and they were delicious. The meat was so tender, and the batter so crisp. With each and every bite,
The rich flavor just filled my mouth more and more.
Osawa felt a blood vessel burst in his skull. Listen, you. Get your goddamn act together, or... He didn't get to finish that thought. Pathetic little gurgle sounded from his stomach.
See,
Kajiwara said.
you are hungry.
He flushed sheepishly with his air. Good to know the police only rely on the most sturdy, fail-proof devices. Exactly. The talk of food, Osawa realized abruptly that he hadn't eaten anything since the night before.
Shall I make something for you?
The detective asked.
This is all my fault, after all.
You can cook? Osawa wasn't sure how thrilled he was with the idea of Kajiwara helping him.
You mustn't judge people based on outward appearances, Mr. Osawa.
All right, fine. Go ahead then. His newfound hunger was making it hard for him to think. It would certainly behoove him to eat something. He led Kajiwara to the kitchen.
What's with that get-up? Wearing an apron in the kitchen is a must, sir.
The cartoon character printed on the apron Kajiwara is wearing is one of his own design. It's modeled after the MPD's mascot. His name is Pinpo-kun. I see.
Alas, it isn't while I'm naked.
Naked?
Oh, are you not familiar with the concept of the naked apron?
Stated being entirely naked save for an apron. A form of cosplay. The views from the front, rear, and sides all offer a certain appeal, but caution must be advised, as it may be difficult to stop arguing about which presents the loveliest sight once the topic is raised. There are similar, more sexualized naked styles as well, such as the naked sock, the naked shoe, the naked necktie, the naked ribbon, the naked scarf, the naked collar, and so forth. Thank you, game.
I could demonstrate, if you like.
No, that's fine. It's quite all right. Where'd you get that apron anyway?
Oh, it's mine, sir.
Have you had it with you this whole time?
Yes, in here.
With a smile, Kajiwara pointed to his pocket. Of course. Osawa eased himself into a chair. His hunger was making him feel weak, and Kajiwara was making him feel like he was losing his mind.
Oh, this is bad, the detective said. I need you to whip something up for you fast. Something's definitely wrong if you don't even have a comeback.
Osawa felt his anxiety mounting. Just what sort of food was this insufferable oaf going to make anyway? Probably nothing worth eating was his bet. I don't know if I trust this dude. Let's see what he does. For now, I just have to pray he wound up with something edible. Kajiwara peered into the refrigerator.
Goodness, you are remarkably understocked, he said. Let's see, could you please put these in the dinger, Mr. Osawa?
Name for the sound the microwave oven makes when it has finished heating your food. The microwave at my house doesn't really go ding when the timer reaches 0, though. It's more just a beep. But then it doesn't make sense to call the microwave a beeper when that's already a word that refers to something else, so you know. The detective handed Osawa some frozen lumps of rice. The dinger? What the heck is a dinger?
The microwave oven, sir.
Osawa stepped in front of the microwave. Unfortunately, he had no idea how to work the controls.
You should thaw that rice out as soon as possible,
Kajiwara told him. I'm actually not sure how to operate this thing.
What?
The detective gasped.
You don't know how to use a microwave?
Osawa could only nod in silent shame.
It should just be as simple as turning the dial.
Wait, which one?
That one, sir. The one on the right.
Osawa turned to the dial, then crossed his arms with a satisfied grin.
Mr. Osawa, you need to put the rice in first before you do that.
Well, then why didn't you say that? Osawa snapped. I've never worked in a kitchen in my life. Don't ask me to do things that are this difficult.
Very well. I'll handle this from here. Why don't you go get the bowls and the chopsticks then, sir?
I have no idea where the hell those are kept. Kajiwara let out a heavy sigh.
All right, then. Please just sit and wait, sir, he said. And here, take this.
Kajiwara pulled out a sheet of bubble wrap from his pocket.
Use your fingers to pop the bubbles. That should help you calm down.
Too drained to argue, Osawa did as prompted, starting to pop his way along the sheet.
Rather than calm him down, though, it was making him incredibly cross. This felt more like a sort of ridiculous punishment. They say you can learn a lot about a household by looking in the fridge, you know. Kajawara was cooking something in a frying pan. And? Osawa asked. Just what have you learned about mine? I'd better not say, sir. You might take offense. Osawa snapped another bubble between his fingers. Ah, the rice is finished thawing. Kajawara topped the steaming bowl of rice with the fried egg he'd whipped up in his pan. And then, as if it were an afterthought, he added some pickled vegetables. Here you are, sir. Your fried egg on rice is complete. One of Kajawara's simple recipes. Others include his white spaghetti, which is simply spaghetti that's been flavored with butter, salt, and pepper after it's been boiled. Both are a bit too basic to be properly called a cuisine, but it does take a certain skill to bring the best flavor out of the ingredients with such simple seasonings. 428 is a very good educational game. Can't wait for it to explain the concept of NTR to us. Yeah, that's true. True. Kajawara grinned from ear to ear. Go ahead and eat it while it's still warm. Osawa received the bowl with a dubious look. You aren't very good at cooking, are you? He said. All you had in your refrigerator were eggs and pickled vegetables, sir. I assure you it is quite delicious. I recommend breaking the yolk and mixing it all together. Reluctantly, Osawa brought a bite to his mouth. Oh, that's good. The words came out almost unbidden. Isn't it? Egg yolk and pickled vegetables pair quite well. Osawa couldn't help but stuff his face, slipping into a rapturous daze as he did. The more he ate, the more it stirred his appetite. I had no idea fried eggs could be this delicious. I know you probably have a long ordeal that's still ahead of you, sir, but please keep your calm and hang in there. Kajawara gave Osawa an amiable smile. Oh, that's right, he continued. And for dessert, we have bananas. No, thank you. Kajawara grimaced as Osawa held up a hand in refusal. Right then. When you're finished eating, would you please wash the bowl? Me? Wash dishes? Osawa exclaimed in surprise, sounding like a petulant child. If someone else cooks for you, you should do the cleaning up. It's only polite. Fine, okay. While Osawa was doing the dishes, the bug detector went off again. Director, if you have a moment, Tonica poked his head into the kitchen. I've got something urgent to discuss with you. Why the zoom in? What's the... What a menacing ass look that was. Shibuya 428. Kajawara can be described as what some people might call a male wife. Kajawara is Columbo, but male wife. Yes. Ow. Okay. Ow. What's going on next? Let's see what's going on in Minorikawa's route. Right. Left. Minorikawa sprinted down Center Guy, dodging between oncoming pedestrians. Out of my way! Can't you people see I'm in a hurry? He stole a glimpse at his watch as he ran. It was just after 1 o'clock. The Burning Hammer sales demo would be getting underway any moment now. Probably get an interview even if he showed up late. Still, he wanted to get the venue ASAP to get a feel for things before they got started. Best time to scope out an event was before it started and after it ended. It was something he'd learned from Toyama. Everything he knew about journalism the publisher had taught him. It had been a combative education. Minorikawa learning despite himself as the two men constantly butted heads. Give me a break! What is wrong with my article? Minorikawa shouted. His voice was loud enough to carry throughout the editing department. Shut up! I told you to rewrite it, so rewrite it! Toyama sticking to his guns. Minorikawa recalled the scene from the days when the two men had worked at the same newspaper, and Toyama was his boss. At the time, Toyama was the copy editor for the local news known as the Red Pen Gatekeeper. He would go around checking young reporters' copy like mad. Due to his vigorous efforts, a great many articles never made it to the page. What's wrong with it? Show me what is wrong. All of it. How could it be all of it? Co-workers stared, keeping their distance as the pair screamed themselves red in the face. These arguments had become a regular occurrence, regular enough that everyone had learned not to try to intervene. I poured my heart and soul into that piece. Go back and read it again. I could read it over and over and it'd still be the same thing. A load of self-important claptrap. Now go calm down and write me a more neutral piece. Taking neither of the two opposing sides, the media typically seeks to adopt a neutral stance in reporting the news. Frequently, however, biased reporting still results in one-sided thinking taking hold amongst the general public. In the end, it's up to the individual to make an objective assessment of any news event. Calm down? You must be joking. I write what I feel in my heart. That's the one thing I refuse to back down on. And it's the one thing that'll keep getting your copy rejected. Aren't you the one who told me to be bold and daring with my writing? Yeah, I did. But I don't remember telling you to write me garbage. By now, Minorikawa and Toyama were practically at each other's throats. Still, despite these almost daily shouting matches, Minorikawa never resented Toyama. Not really. How could he write a piece in a way that would shut Toyama up? Trying to figure that out was how he developed his skills as a reporter. Up until he quit his position at the newspaper to start his own publishing company, Toyama had been a stubborn old man in the finest sense of the term. Now a dying breed in Japan, the sort of be inclined to use knuckles before words to remedy a child's bad behavior. Inflexible but emotionally brittle. Their signature move is to drive a wayward kid out of the house with the exclamation, "You fool! You're no son of mine, I disown you!" Only to wait a while and go find the son who's crying down by the dry riverbed and calmly murmur, "Come on, your supper's getting cold." But then, in order to keep his company afloat, at some point he had abandoned all of his ideals and principles. It was disgraceful, just disgraceful. Thinking about it made Minorikawa's blood boil. It rankled him to know that such a pathetic remnant of a man had been such an influence on him. Reminded himself once again that he needed to wrap up his current job as soon as possible. By now, Minorikawa was getting close to the demo site. He increased his speed. He wound up barreling straight into someone who was walking into a knick-knack shop. A newly opened general variety store. The place is primarily a second-hand shop with posters inside proclaiming things like, "We'll take what you don't need," and "We buy computers at top prices." It was a girl about high school age. She jumped onto her feet, then snatched Minorikawa by the collar. "Hey, watch where you're going!" she snapped. Her upper body strength was impressive, to say the least. The chokehold she had on his neck made it almost impossible for him to breathe. He had to do something fast. What time is this? Can we cause a traffic jam if we start a fight? Take this! He drove a punch right into the girl's flank. To his amazement, the girl shrugged off the blow as if it were nothing, her grip on his collar tightening further. "Oh, you want to throw down, huh?" she sneered. Shifting position suddenly, she snatched Minorikawa by the hair and dragged him out into the road. Ha ha! That is how we do it. Before he could process the trouble he was in, it was already too late. He cowered away from her, shielding his face with his arms, only to feel the impact of a rain of punches and kicks on his exposed back and sides. Pain shot through his body as each blow landed with a perversely satisfying thump. And then the pain continued to intensify. Oh crap, I'm gonna die here, aren't I? Never thought my life would end so soon. Huh? His assistant paused suddenly. "Wait, don't I know you?" She stared down into his face. "Hey, you're Mr. Minorikawa!" Shocked to hear his own name, Minorikawa peered up at the girl. "Miku?" "Yeah! Wow, so you do remember me!" Her tone was bubbly, as if the beating she'd been dishing was all fun and games. "Sorry, I didn't realize it was you." She held out a hand to help Minorikawa back to his feet. How long has it been?" she asked. "About 5 years, I think," he said cautiously. "You are still doing your bonsai stuff?" "Nah," she replied. "I gave that up." Miku had been Japan's bonsai champion back when she was still in middle school. One day, local delinquents had vandalized dozens of Miku's bonsai pieces. Minorikawa had met her when he interviewed her about the incident. "I want to get strong," she had said. "I want to be able to beat those guys up." And so Minorikawa had introduced Miku to an acquaintance of his who ran a martial arts dojo. "Man, you sure have gotten strong," Minorikawa said. "Well, that's the sort of gal I am." Miku handed him a flyer. It read, "Ladies Mixed Martial Arts Pub Bride. Present this flyer for a free drink." It's a place where you can watch girls fight in the ring while you have some drinks, Miku said. Sign me up. That sounds pretty fun, actually. Minorikawa could feel himself being pulled in on all the wrong directions by the prospect. Just gonna see one of my matches sometime. I'm the current champion there. Miku beamed with pride. Wait, you're the champion? Well, he'd seen firsthand how strong she was. What are you up to now? She asked. Working? Yeah, running around trying to get some interviews. Right now I'm heading to, what was it again? The Nokane building. That's it. Oh, I can take you there, she said. I can use the exercise. And if you'll beg my pardon. Miku casually hefted Minorikawa up onto her back and broke into a jog. Before long, they arrived at the Nokane building. Minorikawa thanked Miku as she set him down on the sidewalk, and the two parted ways. At long last, he arrived at the Nokane building where the event was being held. The wall by the elevator was plastered with posters about Burning Hammer. Get it or regret it, as seen in magazines. 100% weight loss guaranteed. This was blatantly false advertising. The messaging was kind of a mess. It felt like they'd been thrown together at the last minute. Minorikawa avoided the elevator in favor of the stairs, rushing up to the event site on the 3rd floor. Emerging from the stairwell, he saw more posters on the wall pointing the way to the sales demo, followed the arrows to a room deeper within the building. Opening the door, he saw about 50 chairs, most of them occupied by female attendees. There was a stage set up on the far end of the room, but nobody was on it. It appeared the event had yet to begin. Minorikawa quickly looked over the crowd. Roughly half the women were somewhat elderly. All of them looked like they could stand to lose some weight, and for some of them at least, that ship had surely sailed some time ago. And the crowd gazed at the stage with rapt anticipation. A beverage that allowed you to eat plenty and still lose weight was definitely an appetizing proposition. Could something like that really exist, though? Ah, well. Minorikawa was just going to have to wait and see. He did his best to get his mind into journalism mode. Ladies, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting. At the presenter's cue, the cat mascot appeared and took the stage. Oh, wait, no, this is Tama. The audience broke into applause. After waiting patiently for the applause to die down, the cat produced a small box from which she slowly pulled a pendant set with a blue stone. Huh? It certainly wasn't a dye drink, whatever it was. Minorikawa wasn't the only one who'd quickly realized this wasn't a Burning Hammer sample. Just staring for a moment, the rest of the crowd began to fly into an uproar. Quiet, the cat shouted. Taken aback, the crowd quieted down. The cat held the pendant up so high that everyone could get a look at it. Do not take your eyes off of the pendant. If you do, you will die. A jolt of panic shot through the room. Slowly, the cat began to swing the pendant back and forth. Meet cute, old-fashioned, the usual unrealistic. Meet incredible violence, inspirational, beautiful. Relationship will last until one of you dies. There you go. Minorikawa couldn't quite recall what happened after that. When he came to his senses, he'd already pulled a 10,000 yen bill from his wallet, handing it to the man he assumed was the demo organizer. In exchange, he received a pendant, the same as the one the cat had been holding. I've done it! Minorikawa muttered to himself excitedly. Clutching the pendant in his hand, he could feel the energy radiated, coursing throughout his body. The cat's monotone chanting from the stage sounded in his ears like a chorus of angels. Overwhelmed by a feeling of ecstasy he could scarcely contain, Minorikawa repeated his words to himself. I've done it! With this, I'll be the greatest writer the world has ever seen! My articles will stir the emotions of the entire human race. They'll laugh, they'll cry, they'll tremble with fear, they'll jump for joy. No longer was the Pulitzer Prize a mere dream, it was practically already his. A prize awarded for excellence in journalism, literature, and music composition. Named for American journalist Joseph Pulitzer, active during the late 19th, early 20th centuries, and administered by Columbia University, to whom he willed all his money in order to establish a journalism school. 3 Japanese photographers have been awarded the prize in the past. Yasushi Nagao, Kyoichi Sawada, and Toshio Sakai. Minorikawa wanted, no, he needed to tell someone how excited he was. This miracle he'd attained. He wasn't going to just squander it on himself. Oh, no. A journalist of his stature needed to share what he knew with all of humanity. He opened up his laptop. He booted up his word processing program. He deleted all of the articles he'd been working on. He knew that what he really needed to write Special edition report on the Miracle Stone. Only in 4-Star General's Gossip Spring issue. Must-have stone already in many fashionistas' collections. Look out, world mysterious gemstone set to change international balance of power. Blessed by the miracle of stone, get your hot stock tips here. The pages originally slated for the pros and cons of security cameras and washed-up screenwriters were instead filled with glowing praise and rave reviews for the Miracle Stone. Never had Minorikawa been more proud of his work. Back at 4-Star General Gossip headquarters, Minorikawa handed his articles to Toyama, who was sitting glumly at his desk. Toyama looked them over slowly. Then there was a lingering silence. Finally, he spoke, his voice subdued, but his words crystal clear. Yeah... This is all getting axed. Did Tama legitimately just go out there and hypnotize the entire audience to buying the stone? I love it. I bet it's because we need it. Desperate though he was for copy, Toyama still rejected Minorikawa's articles. Probably a good indication of how bad they really were. Maybe the Miracle Stone wasn't the breaking story Minorikawa wanted it to be. Tama and her pals really need to be selling Burning Hammer instead. That's good. It's good shit right there. At least we didn't get Toyama killed again. Maybe. Probably. Probably not this time. Alright. Guess we could go with Tama. Bottles of Burning Hammer litter the pavement, shattered into tiny bits of glass. Even if the recycling guy was really careless with the boxes, it shouldn't have caused this much of a mess. Looks like someone came along and actually threw them all over the place. The heck with this thing. I toss away the Miracle Stone, which has clearly brought me only bad luck. We can't have a product demo without a product, which in turn means I won't be getting paid for this whole fiasco. Okay, we can do this. We can figure something out. I tried to give myself a pep talk, but I hear the doubt in my own voice. I tried to brainstorm anyway. Finding inspiration is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. I rack my mind for the best course of action, and at long last I arrive at a conclusion. I kind of want to see what it looks like. We know what the answer is here. We're going to have to sell some... I just want to find something else to sell. I want to see what happens from Tama's perspective. I'll just have to find something else to sell. But what could that something be? I try to think. Finding inspiration is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. I rack my brain, searching desperately for a solution. The Nagashis? No, not exactly a must-have product. Even if we could sell a few, I don't know what they'd say about the folks carrying them around. Best for the whole world if we keep them off the streets. Let's see, what else? Ah! I got it! I picked up the Miracle Stone and just tossed away, clutching it firmly in my mitt. I tilt my gaze toward the heavens and make a wish. Please, grant me a miracle. And my wish is granted. I'd like one, please. I'll take 10. Mr. Yanagashita can barely keep up with the demand as the crowd clamors for their miracle stones. Everyone is smiling and laughing, and their bodies enthusiastically swaying to and fro. You are happy, and you are happy. You are all very, very happy. Standing on stage, I hold up my miracle stone, swinging it like a pendulum as I recite my magic and little chant. Bye, a miracle stone. Stone, ooh, stone, stone. The room vibrates with cheering and rumbles with applause.
Really is like a miracle. I think I've actually turned this disaster around. Whoever smashed all the burning hammer, I don't know who you are or where you are. Thank you. I realize now that I'm crying tears of joy. I've never felt satisfaction like I feel right now, seeing all these blissful customers purchasing one miracle stone after another. Feels like nothing could possibly go wrong. Honestly, I'm just grateful to God that I get to be here right now. I have the utmost conviction. This is where my life truly begins. It's not long after that epic sales event that I'm hired on by Yamato Health Foods Company Limited. Pretty soon after that, I'm on a plane and board for South America. I'm on a business trip to purchase our next product, Amazonian Miracle Mud.
Oh, that was good. All right. let's go fix that. Still. Somehow or another, I'm just gonna have to sell some burning hammer.
The flyers have already been handed out. People have come to the demo expecting to get burning hammer. I may have to put it into some new bottles, but possibly water it down some, but getting this stuff sold is my only option. My eyes alight on one of the cardboard boxes, and I noticed an odd mark that's stamped on it. Wait a second. I've seen this before. I recall something Cheery said earlier.
This is the sort of thing they'd sell in 100 yen shops or something.
Ha! The mark on the box is the same as the one I saw at the shop that's selling the necklace. That's it. I can see if there's more at the knick-knack shop. Guided by this ray of hope, I run for the knick-knack shop as fast as I can.
A glimmer, a sliver, the ever-dwindling light in the distance. Point is, there's not much.
As soon as I reach the main road, I crash right into someone. It's Cheery.
Oh, hey, did you find it? She asks.
She makes it sound like it's not really her problem. Not yet, but I think we could stock up at the 100 yen shop. The words are hard to get out when I'm panting as hard as I am. For now, stay calm and go let the boss know.
Got it.
Leave it to me. Cheery nods and I break it back into a run. I'm practically praying as I rush into the knick-knack shop, where I immediately spot the cardboard boxes I saw earlier, still stacked up.
Tama really just hypnotized everyone herself into making bad life decisions. What a girl boss, right?
Yeah, summon luck. I dive into one of the boxes, check what's inside. It's packed with tiny bottles. There's no mistaking the noxious red liquid inside. It's burning hammer, all right. 50 bottles per box. There are 4 boxes total. So each bottle's 100 yen, including tax. I could buy the whole lot with the 20,000 I got in my wallet. Mr. Yanagashita said he was selling the bottles at the demo for 15,000 yen apiece. When we sell all 200 bottles, we would pay back his debts no problem.
Well, what's the deal with you?
The sales clerk's eyes go wide, and then he sees my getup. This stuff, I like your entire stock. Point at the burning hammer, and the clerk makes an awkward face.
I'm afraid that's already been sold.
What? You mean like all of it? Nobody in their right mind could possibly want all of this.
Yeah, all of it, I'm afraid.
Well, I'm not going to roll over that easily. Whether I can earn that extra 20,000 or not hinges on whether I can get this stuff. Please, you gotta help me out.
I'm afraid it's out of my hands.
And could you get in touch with the buyer? Tell them I'm willing to negotiate.
Suppose that wouldn't be an issue, but, she would mind waiting for just a moment. She said she'd be by ASAP.
5 minutes of waiting, the buyer still hasn't shown up. You don't think she's coming, I say.
That's odd, the sales clerk murmurs. She said on the phone she'd come by just after 1 o'clock to pick them up.
Really need this right away.
I understand that, but
Please.
it's out of my hands. By now the sales
Demo's already started. Come back empty-handed. What's the point of all this effort? Gimme.
I've already said I can't do that.
Gimme!
Would you please wait a moment?
Why did I spend all that time trying to hand out samples? Why did I put this stupid costume on? Why did I miss out on lunch? Why? What was it all for? Ah, look over there. It's the chupacabra.
Huh?
Yoink. Seizing the moment, I snatch up the box as a burning hammer and make a run for it.
Hey, hold it right there, miss.
The sales clerk squeaked to bar my path. Woof! I bear my way right past him, though. I bump him harder than intended as I race by. He loses his balance and goes crashing through the display case at the front of his shop. At the same time, I hear something else topple over with a thud and a gurgle. Some sort of liquid begins to gush from a red polythene container.
Uh-oh?
The sales clerk's eyes go wide, his stare fixed on something on the sidewalk nearby. It's a cigarette. The burning butt ignites the liquid in a sudden massive blaze.
And now for today's news. Shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon, there was an explosion at a variety store in Udagawacho in Shibuya, the cause of which remains unknown. Eyewitnesses report seeing an individual wearing a full-body cat costume fleeing the scene in the aftermath of the explosion. Police consider this individual a person of interest and have not ruled out the possibility that this bombing was a terrorist act. Several hours after the incident, the cat remains at large. Good job, Tama. Good job. Tama wound up as the prime suspect in an apparent terrorist bombing. If the buyer had shown up earlier, Tama's argument with the sales clerk might never have happened, to say nothing of the rest. As a matter of fact, the buyer was just outside the shop at the critical moment. She was held up when she happened to run into someone. Then someone's actions at 13:05 were the key to changing Tama's fate. So maybe that was what we did wrong. Then maybe it's not Mei Norikawa that needs to... Yeah, okay. So I thought Mei Norikawa needed to do that in order to create a traffic jam, but that's not what happened. Instead, we just held up the buyer. So what if we instead... apologize and move on. Sorry, he bowed his head in apology. He was in too much of a hurry to get caught up in an argument now. But the girl didn't let go. Instead, she tightened her grip. Look, I'm sorry for not looking where I was going. Minorikawa could barely croak out his apology. Fine, I'll let it slide this once, the girl said. She relaxed her grip. Wait, hold on, she murmured. She stared hard at Minorikawa's. Hey, you're Mr. Minorikawa! Surprised, Minorikawa gave her another look. Miku? Yeah! Wow, you do remember me! She smiled with delight, apparently forgetting that she'd just been wringing his neck. How long's it been? Okay, so this is the same conversation but with a different background. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is the same. Well, you've sure gotten strong all right, Minorikawa said. That's just the sort of gal I am. Okay, so the same thing. Yep. The ladies mixed martial arts. Honestly, that flyer is a mood. Okay. This is all the same. Okay. Right now I'm in sort of a hurry, though. Oh, sure, Miko said. Catch you later, then. She headed into the shop as Minorikawa rushed off toward the sales demo. There we go. At long last, he arrived at the Nokane building where the event was being held. Okay. Yep. This is definitely the same. This is all the same. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. That's all the same. Yep. Getting his mind into journalism mode. Here we go. Okay. Time passed, but the demo didn't start. The audience began grumbling in frustration. Then a heavyset young woman took the stage and gave a little bow. It was the girl from the cafe, the one with the amazing appetite. The audience broke into applause, their patience finally rewarded. But as everyone leaned forward expectantly, the girl on stage began performing magic tricks. She twiddled a silk hat, pulled a bunch of flowers from inside of it. Sparse applause rose up from the crowd. The young woman immediately went on to perform another trick and then another. Ta-da! A coin in her hand became 3 coins as she spoke her magic words. She's not very good at this, Minorikawa thought. Though whether she was good or bad wasn't really the issue. He had a tight schedule to keep. This was no time to stand around watching silly sleight of hand antics. Scanning the room, he spotted a man who looked like he was probably in charge. Minorikawa headed over to him. Hey, are you the one running this thing? Well, yeah. When's the actual sales demo going to start? Soon, very soon, yep. In how many minutes? You know, soon. I asked for a number. Soon, real soon. This is getting him nowhere. 3 minutes, Minorikawa declared. He held up 3 fingers to emphasize his point. The thing doesn't start in 3 minutes. Doesn't start, then what? I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna start a ruckus. What are we're gonna be hard. I'm just gonna go home. I'm just gonna go home. Cut the stone clipped and cool. Hey, no need for that, sir. Just settle down. Who doesn't like a silly little magic stone now and then? You got 2 minutes. Minute getting passed already. 1 minute. Ah! So what kind of watch you got there? Tell me why the demo isn't starting. You know, no real reason, really. The man was getting seriously flustered. Just, wanted folks to see a little magic stone first. Nope. Try again. 30 seconds left. Okay, all right. What happened is acquired merchandise. What happened to the merchandise? Minorikawa demanded. Give the guy a dagger stare. It's just, time's up. What? The man's face went pale. Classy. All right. I think I will call it here for today as well. It's 2 o'clock already. I'm still really pretty exhausted, and I'm glad I got in a little bit of streaming today, but I definitely don't think we can keep going for much longer, so. 1 year. That's fine. There's a new episode of 2 Queers to play out in about 2 hours. It's the second and final episode of our playthrough of Mr. Rayner's Solvent Service, which I hope you look forward to, because it's a very, very good game. All of E3 and stuff has been very good and moving, and Mr. Rayner's in particular has been wonderful. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with a bit more sleep. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Have a great